So before we get too deep here, there's a few considerations to keep in mind before we actually start changing our habits. The first consideration is that creating habits is an extremely powerful tool. And just like any other powerful tool, it has a good side and it has a bad side. So it's very important that first and foremost, you're focusing on your relationships with diet, food, exercise, and yourself. If any habit that you instill is going to end up fostering a negative relationship in any of these domains, long-term, it's not going to be worth it. You might be able to lose a couple pounds, but it's more important to actually address what's lying underneath, be kind to ourselves, and then we can worry about optimizing our habits. If you already have a healthy relationship with food, your body, and your diet, then we can go ahead and start changing some habits. You also need to be cautious and very aware of the way that you're treating these relationships in your life. It's just like Uncle Ben used to say, with great power comes great responsibility. It's a very powerful framework and tool that you're going to be learning over the span of this course, and it's important that you treat it as such. There's another quote by somebody called Nathaniel Emmons that goes, "Habit is either the best of servants or the worst of enemies." And it's very important that we keep this in mind. We don't want to become slaves to our habits. We want our habits to be something that empower us on a regular basis. Another thing to keep in mind is there's no such thing as a quote-unquote good habit or a bad habit. There are good habits for specific people at specific times, and there are certainly bad habits for specific people at specific times. A great example of this is intermittent fasting has become extremely popular as of late, but it has existed in some form or another for hundreds and thousands of years. In fact, it used to exist 50 years ago. We used to just call skipping meals anorexia. If you struggle with your relationship with food, you are not someone that I would have actually engage in intermittent fasting. What's more important is that we focus on nourishing the body. We're getting in the proper amount of meals. If you already have a really good relationship with food, then you can start considering things like intermittent fasting. But first and foremost is relationships. And the last consideration is that I am not a psychologist. I am someone who's just really passionate about behavior change and building habits. And I've seen the tremendous benefit that I have gained from actually applying this framework, and my clients have as well. But I am not a psychologist. I'll say that at the top. Use any of these tips at your discretion.